Good morning to you. Mark Stott with HurricaneTrack here, Saturday now, the 28th of September, 2024. Want to do a fairly quick update for you just to keep you on top of what is going on in the tropics. I know many, literally millions of people still dealing with this, millions without power still, thousands struggling in the aftermath of Helene, western North Carolina devastated, parts of upstate South Carolina, and then certainly the coast of Florida where this made landfall, just showing us once again the power and the impacts, the broad societal impacts of these systems and why it's so important to be educated about them, stay on top of their evolution, and just make sure you have some kind of a plan in place, whatever is appropriate for your particular situation. So it is the end of September. We still are in hurricane season, and just wanting to make sure we're keeping an eye on things because it looks like it's going to stay pretty active as we go forward. So let's take a look now first at the power outage situation. Still so many, 460,000 in Florida, almost 750,000 in Georgia, 1 million in South Carolina. That is just stunning. I mean, it is. This is where the hurricane made landfall. More people out without power here. And then North Carolina, a little over 500,000. Just unbelievable. It really is. As many times as we've seen it in the past with these systems, it makes you shake your head. It's truly remarkable how these systems can impact us. And then look at this here. Pretty much the DOT has wrapped it up for you. 400 roads remain closed. All roads in western North Carolina should just be considered closed. I mean, it's not even seeming like it's real. The devastation that we've seen out that way, absolutely stunning. It really is. And I've done this for 30 years professionally. You never get used to it. And I think that's a good thing because it keeps me motivated to keep on with the education work that I do and that we do as a team. Just wow, I don't even know. So let's just move on because we do have to keep an eye on things. Luckily, some really good news. None of these systems out here are going to be of any concern to anyone except marine interests or airplanes that might be flying over the tops of them, okay? So we don't have to worry about that. The next area of concern is going to be through here in the coming days. In fact, the National Hurricane Center does have a medium probability here, medium chance, 40% now, that another system is going to develop. An area of low pressure could form, they're saying, over the western Caribbean Sea, general same area where Helene got started, kind of part of the Central American gyre, kind of winding down, maybe interacting with some tropical wave energy. Environmental conditions are expected to be conducive for additional development, and a tropical depression could form the middle or latter part of next week as the system enters the Gulf of Mexico. So we do need to watch this. I know that people all through here, are going to be just like not wanting to hear this. But we can't ignore it. All right? We have to just be on top of it. And here's one thing that's very, very important. We're in the early evolution of this next system. We're going to see some varying model runs for sure. But what we need to really keep an eye on is where this could end up, especially post-landfall, assuming something does happen. Because this could affect a lot of the rescue and recovery efforts ongoing in parts of the southeast. So we need to really be vigilant about this, but not overdo it. Let's just wait and see and watch the gradual process unfold, being very sensitive to the people who have just dealt with something that is truly devastating in their lives. All right? Interesting to note, Isaac is a pretty strong hurricane now, 105 miles per hour. We do have Joyce out here, 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and the remnants post-tropical Helene sitting up here over western Kentucky and southeast Illinois. Moving on to the satellite. Now, there's something goofy going on with Tropical Tidbits and the Weather Nerds site. I couldn't get their loops to update. It still says it was yesterday's data. So the National Hurricane Center, luckily, their link here shows 28th of September. I had to make sure it was on the right day. But anyway, this is what everything looks like, satellite view perspective. There is fairly sheared Joyce, and then way up here, would be Isaac, and then the remnants, the moisture of Helene sitting over here. And then here's some energy that's going to be coming across, and then the overall pattern over here is going to be more favorable over the next several days for something to try to develop, and then maybe some more energy that tries to come off Africa in the coming days. But again, our main area that we need to watch is going to be right through this region here over the next several days leading into the first part of August. And I can show you, or August, it seems like August, doesn't it? October. I had 7 hours of sleep, so I'm gradually recovering here. So here is the GFS from the 6Z run, and let's pay attention to this piece of energy. Let's make sure we can see it first. Just use blue. This piece of energy here, by the way, that's Helene's remnants, kind of involved with that upper level low. Still raining in parts of that area. But let's start to watch this right down here. This is the 850 millibar level of the atmosphere. Again, my favorite part of the atmosphere to see the structure and the foundation, if you will, of our fledgling systems especially. So let's move this out into time. This is 24 hours. Then we have 48 hours there. And the first piece of energy does not do much. You see that? It kind of just wanes away. But then we have more that tries to come off of the northwest coast of Colombia. And that kind of gets pulled into this. Still have that gyre going down there. See the wind flags through here? Right like that? Pretty prevalent there. In fact, let's change the extent here to the western Atlantic so we get a better, sort of better resolution, kind of zoom in on everything. So we still have the easterly winds here, or sorry, westerly winds. It's got to slow down. And then they curve and turn up this way, so that's that gyre still kind of prevalent down here. So that energy is going to come off of, it looks like South America, get involved with that, and it just helps to tighten everything up. So the first piece comes through, doesn't do much, but then by 72 hours, this is our area of energy right there. It gets formed in the extreme southwestern Caribbean Sea, moves its way up towards Central America, is able to come together, and this is a good spot right here at day 5 to look at the upper levels of the atmosphere. Let's see how favorable they are, and it's pretty favorable, unfortunately. The strong upper level winds are up here. Everything around our system seems generally favorable. Not as ideal looking as we saw with Helene, which is obviously great to see, but that can change. But we just want to watch this. This is day 5. Finally, we get out here to day 6, which is right there, and then day 7, a week out. It is in the central Gulf of Mexico. Pretty strong high pressure sitting over this area. You can see the outline of it all through here. And we'll have to wait and see what this does, what the upper levels are like. We can look at a few clues, though, real quick. Let's check those upper levels. 200 millibars up. Very favorable pattern. I mean, I have to tell you what I see. All right, not trying to frighten people or whatever, but that's fairly favorable. Global model only shows 990. Hopefully we get lucky, and that's exactly all it is. Looking at the humidity and the moisture, I mean, it's got a pretty moist environment. We don't see any of these big brown areas getting jabbed into it, which would indicate, first of all, shear and the ingestion of dry air. So this takes us out to a week. We need to watch this. National Hurricane Center, obviously, outlooking it as we call it. So let's pay attention, okay? And another big reason that we have to stay on top of all this stuff, remember after Francine, this part of the Gulf of Mexico cooled down? It is hard to believe. It's hard to believe that we are now back to 2 Celsius above average. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe the strong southerly wind flow coming out of the Caribbean, pushing all the warm water from there. We are now back to above average in the Gulf of Mexico. These hurricanes take heat out of the tropics through a number of processes. One of them is just churning up the ocean, just plowing through, and you get this cold wake. And we're going to see that on tomorrow's update. You can almost see the beginnings of it from Helene right here. But Francine left a pretty noticeable cold wake in this area, and now it's gone. And so we have to keep watching. We're not done. And again, bearer of bad news, but you got to also face the reality. And the actual water temperatures, those were anomalies that I just showed you. The actual water temperatures are still quite warm, 29, almost 30 Celsius all through this area. Solid area of 30, 31 Celsius over here in the southwestern Gulf. And then this too will start to really cool off. You'll see the wake of what Helene did will really have churned up. These are always a day or so behind the lag there from just being updated. So we'll have a proper thumbnail later, by the way. Let me check the phone, see if CJ made it for me. He says, yep, 8 minutes ago. He'll put it ready. Put it on our, he'll send it to me in a text and I'll put it up there. But we got our general background thumbnail for now. Whatever. Point is, I wanted to get a video on for you, keep you up to date on things, and tell you, yes, we're going to be live from about 2:30 p.m., maybe a little earlier, from the vehicle as we go recover all of our equipment, and we'll give you commentary along the way. All right? Have a good rest of your Saturday, and good luck to everybody dealing with this. I feel for you. I empathize with what you're going through. Many of you I know in person that are having to deal with this. Some of you I'm going to see today. And it's hard. I know it is. But hang in there. We will get through this together. And while we watch the rest of the tropics and make sure we're ready for what could be coming next. As always, I do appreciate you tuning in, giving me a part of your day to tell you what I'm looking at. From all of us at HurricaneTrack, I'm Mark Sudduth. I'll see you again from the vehicle in just a few hours.